I'm Galloway Stevens. I'm the current Associate Artistic Director, Company Manager, Resident Artist at Oregon Cabaret Theater, and I'm going to be playing Bob Wallace in White Christmas.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write.
So, White Christmas will mark my last performance with Oregon Cabaret Theater as Associate Artistic Director, as a full-time manager, being here in a full-time position. It's not to say that in the future I won't be back, because I would love to come back. I would love to come back and do some more directing for the company, appear in more shows. But I'm a believer as an artist. I'm a believer that sometimes there comes points where you don't want to fall into a position where you get too comfortable. And I've been with the company as a performer, I've been with the company for about 7 years now. And so just within the past year, I was like, I shouldn't find myself in a position where I'm weighing myself down or weighing the art of the company down by becoming comfortable. I should make sure that I'm keeping myself vital, keeping myself fresh, learning new things, and that means getting myself back out there into the larger fishbowl of entertainment and seeing what else is going on. White Christmas being my out show as a full-time position, as a full-time company member. Again, the magic of it, when I started with the company, I started with Cabaret back in 2015, in that the company was going under change. Rick Robinson, Valerie Rochelle taking over the theater. They wanted to honor what it was, and they wanted to honor the audience it had. But in their own artistic eyes, they wanted to make sure that they were doing something that was theirs, that they were doing something new and fresh. And I was blessed to be able to be here and be with that.
Happy holidays, happy holidays.
But I remember when Valerie Rochelle and I first sat down with Nataki Garrett. We had a luncheon with her, and Nataki introduced to us the idea of Ashland and leaders of Ashland coming to her and saying, look, we need to start a holiday season, a winter season, to kind of make up for some of the lost times that happened, the lost weeks that happened during the summer when, fires and smoke kind of take over. And she came to Valerie and saying, look, Oregon Cabaret Theater as an establishment has had the game in Ashland for that holiday winter season for 35 plus years. Who's your audience? Where is your target? What can we do? And would you be willing to work with us? It's great because I feel like when I started with Oregon Cabaret Theater and I came here, I kept talking about how I was crossing a threshold. Doing something new, doing something that had never been done before, doing shows that were new for Oregon Cabaret Theater. So in this time of kind of ending out this season with knowing that I'm going to head out for a little while and make a new path for myself after I leave White Christmas, I feel like I'm leaving by crossing another threshold. White Christmas, as in I'm sure many homes that celebrated Christmas or celebrate Christmas, growing up, it was every year. There was no way to miss out on it. Even if I intentionally tried to miss the movie because I was like, I've seen it. There was no way to miss it. There's no way. Whether it's a commercial, whether it's like you're going through the channels and there it is and you're like, oh, it is pretty. Look at this. My mother grew up being a matinee fan. Like every Saturday she was in a theater, and that's growing up. She was my tutor on educating me about the golden age of cinema, and so I think I've seen every Bing Crosby piece there is, and it was important for me to follow him because I identified just with him vocally as an artist. I was like, listen to that bass. He would roll out these like smooth bass tunes, and I was like, wow, that's exactly where I want to be and what I want to do.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, good night, bonsoir, good evening.
Performing the MC in Cabaret, that That was one of those things. We work with a gentleman by the name of Michael Jenkinson. He's directed quite a few pieces here at Oregon Cabaret Theater. I was working with him down in California. He was the director for a production of Oklahoma, and I was playing Judd Fry. And that was back in the summer of 2014. And he and I kind of really hit it off. And he was asking me if I was familiar with Oregon Cabaret Theater in Ashland, Oregon. At the time, I was like, not really. He's like, you should look into it. He said, I had some friends, Rick and Val, they're taking over the theater. And he was like, I think you would mesh well with them. And he was like, I think you should just reach out. Then it was the following holiday season of 2014. I heard from Michael again. He said, I really want you to audition for Cabaret. And I think you should audition for the MC. Now, the funny thing about that is that for me, when he told me that, the MC was one of those roles, I don't know, as an actor, sometimes you try not to even pigeonhole yourself, but sometimes just subconsciously you do. Because I was like, it kind of sparked something in me where I was like, I was surprised when he said it. I was like, the MC in Cabaret. Because immediately, like, Joel Grey comes to mind immediately for me. And then, of course, Alan Cumming, who, did the revival years and years later. So iconic, both of them, that I was like, is that me? Do I do that?
Money makes the love go round, love go round, love go round. Money makes the love go round.
I do remember a little story about getting the job. When I did arrive, Valerie Rochelle, who was directing the show and cast me, she said, when Michael first approached me about you possibly auditioning for the role, she had seen the production of Oklahoma down in California. She had seen my performance of Judd Fry, and her words to him were, you want Judd Fry to play the MC?
Yes, I can keep coming, yeah, you pick on you in Cabaret, oh Cabaret, to Cabaret.
Man, I loved that production. It was such a different kind of feel, and it was a crossing of a threshold for the company, for Ashland. But I remember arriving and starting rehearsals, and people I was meeting on the street out and about, when they would find out that I was with Cabaret, they were like, oh, you're doing Cabaret at the Cabaret? And I was like, yeah. They were like, mind blowing. They were like, this is something that's never been done before. So I knew immediately, I was like, the town is excited about this. Dr. Frankenfurter, man, what was really exciting about that production? I wasn't supposed to be in it. I was here prior. I'd been cast prior in the season to do 9 to 5, followed up by Chicago. And I remember the season prior when we had been doing Cabaret, I went to Valerie and I said, is there any room for me to audition for Bat Boy and Rocky Horror? And at the time, she's like, we really want to make sure that our audiences are seeing a mix of talent, and we don't want to bombard them with, one or two, single person. And she was like, so 2 shows is our limit. And she said, and for me as a producer, my money's worth for you is 9 to 5 and Chicago. But while I was here, the actor that they had cast for the shared productions of Bat Boy and Rocky, for whatever reasons, had bowed out and said, I'm no longer available. So in that crunch time of the summer, Valerie came to me and she said, are you still interested in Bat Boy and Rocky? And I was like, I absolutely am. Because, 2 shows that, again, what I love, one of the things I love about working with Oregon Cabaret Theater is the kind of the risk taking and the doing material that is not overtly commercial. Bat Boy is not overtly commercial at all. So I just was like, I want to be a part of this because theaters don't do this show. And it's a fun, exciting show.
She will see what you are, I will win back my ride. She herself will decide to be free of the
All my years, I had been to so many Rocky events. I had been to Rocky parties. I had, and I had done the whole dress up thing, but I was just an audience member. I was just someone there for the party, right? So this was going to be my first time being like, oh, this is like a proper stage production. Like, we're going to get out there and do it.
You better wise up, German words.
I remember the first time I slipped on the boots, because they got the boots, these like knee-high huge boots, platformed 5-inch. And I was like kind of nervous about them. but they got them in early so I could start working in rehearsals immediately. And I remember the first time sliding that thing up my leg and zipping it, and I stood up and I was like, oh, I'm Dr. Frankenfurter.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd. Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd.
When Oregon Cabaret Theater, when we got together and the powers that be got together and talking about a season selection, when Sweeney Todd hit paper, when pen hit paper, and it was like, we're doing Sweeney Todd, I immediately said, I was like, I'm so excited about this. This is huge for you. You need to make sure that you get in the talent that you need to make it a success. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't cast me as Sweeney Todd, I'll burn the building to the ground.
What happened then? Well, that's the play, and he wouldn't want us to give it away.
Because, Sweeney Todd was, that is one of those tick-the-box dream roles for me. It's one of those that I remember, listening to the material, watching any material I could find, when I first started into learning my craft and, studying literature in musical theater. And once I was introduced to Sweeney Todd, I was just like, wow, epic. This is epic. And one day I will play this character. This will happen for me.
Anyone, meaning anyone, and to anyone at all.
You should get a ticket to White Christmas at the Thomas Theater because it's just what you do. It's what you do. What else? What more do you have to do? It's the holiday season. Get out there. Be social. I know that we've been through some scary times over the last couple of years, but it's time to move forward. It's the holiday season. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your coworkers. Go out and make a night of it. It's a time for us all to kind of gather together at the holidays. No matter what your faith or your beliefs are. That's not really what White Christmas is about. Yes, Christmas is in the title, but it's more about coming together. It's more about seeing each other through tough times and celebrating the times that we can. This is a time of year for celebration.